wanna make a brand new start. You've been living on the edge with forever as a pledge. No more giving it up, turning me loose, setting us free. Baby, keeping it real, cause we got what takes for sure. There's no turning back anymore. Can you see it's all a game? Life goes on all the same. If at first you don't succeed, all you've got is all you need. If you believe, then stake your claim.
Hello, Rise and Thrivers. Welcome to another Monday night. It is December 15th and it's 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Welcome to Rise and Thrive Together. Before we start this episode and we get into our topic and bring on our guests, we want to remind you who we are. We are Rise and Thrive Together, a vibrant community committed to educating and empowering and equipping you to get the results that you want through real talk and taking real actions. So here we are, Monday evening, halfway through December and almost at the end of 2025. And I'm excited to say hello to you, sis. What's up, Raquel? How are you?
I'm doing well. Hello, Rise and Thrivers. I was like, today's the 15th, but you're absolutely right.
I know when I was saying it, I was like, it's December 15th. And I was questioning it myself for a moment.
Too funny. So, what are we chatting about for the month of December? Why do I have to think about the month?
We're thinking of the month. This month, we're super excited because we're continuing the topic on piecing, and it's called Piecing Your Year of Transformation in 2025. But I'm saying piecing our transformation, right? It's all of ours. It's each and every one of us. We are piecing together our transformation for 2025. And, we are already in week 3 because December has 5 Mondays. And we already had our guest Cassie on. We started off, we had Cassie, we got our special guest tonight. So yeah, this is it. We're like diving right into what does that mean? What does that look like? How do we go about to do it? All of that fun stuff.
What I want to know, and this is a question that we'll chat up with our guest, is it possible? And this just came into my head, so I need to get it out. I'm like a kid. It is in full effect. Is it possible for someone to think they've transformed, but in reality they haven't?
Oh,
and if so, what would that look like when they discover that, hey, I really haven't changed? I thought I did. Was it like the representative that you send out on a date? I just, random stuff. Bear with me, folks. I'm feeling good.
No, I love that question. Good. Again, this is what's so much fun about being with you, because we have not, connected since last week. Quick text. I literally had that conversation with someone before we got on. That really about transformation. Like, can you completely transform? And if we're talking here, and viewers, throw in your comments, throw in everything as we're speaking, because it's just naturally coming through Raquel and I. When I think of transformation, Lexi was just studying for her science test, so it was perfect. I'm thinking of a butterfly, right? So you've got that, beautiful caterpillar. It's obvious what it looks like. And then all of a sudden it like clings to whatever it clings to. And then it goes into this cocoon. And in a million years, like when you're a little kid, when you see a caterpillar, and I remember this with Lexi before she never knew that caterpillar was going to turn into this butterfly. That's the transformation, right? Completely something that you didn't ever know. So according to the dictionary of, a thorough or dramatic change in form or appearance. That's the dictionary, Cambridge, the Merriam-Webster.
I don't like that definition.
Right. No, but I do love it because that's how we've grown up, right? And then we've got our show. where our show gets into mindset, our show gets into some deep stuff. So Merriam-Webster says the act or process of or instant of transform say that again, is an act or process or instant of transforming or being transformed. And so one of the things on the show when we talk about mindset, it's a way of being. So we grow up in this typical as a kid, a butterfly, obvious, it's an art form of something physical that happens, and we can physically transform, right? Can physically transform my hair from curly, blow it out, straighten it out. And then there's a way of being. And I was like, can that, when you transform, does it stick? That's my second part to you. Does it stick and like never, ever go back to that other way of being again? And I'm saying that at this present time, I have not had that experience yet. And I'm not sure. Like the rival.
Which one? The going back?
The like I'm transformed. It's never like that's it. Like if I'm never gonna have that anger ever again, right? I'm never gonna be angry. I've transformed myself where anger does not take over my life, right? That kind of way of being. For me, I'm practicing in the transformation is that awareness of what triggers me that has me go from 0 to 60. And maybe it won't go from 0 to 60. Maybe I'll go from 0 to 50 and then 0 to 40 and 30 and 20 and 10 to the point of like I'm blinking my eyes. Right? That quickly. Like that. Raquel disappeared just right now. Raquel, you're a black square again. There you go. And you're back. That's how quickly it transformed. It's that quickly. So I'm curious, anybody of our viewers around the topic of transformation, does transformation, that's it, the butterfly, because the butterfly never goes back to the caterpillar, right? What we know of, it never goes back. So it is completely transformed. It's in its state of being a butterflyness, and it goes and does its thing. I personally have not gotten to that butterflyness. So, we lost your, so we can see you, but we can't hear you. No. Raquel might have to come off and come back on. So while she's working on technical difficulties, hey, viewers, Raquel brought this great thing about transformation. What is your thought about that around transformation? Is it something that sticks and stays forever? Is it something that comes back on, and we come in and out of as an experience, and maybe it's not as triggering and doesn't really, have much emotion or charge to it? So I'd love to hear from you and see what your thoughts are on that. Sharon, how are you? Good to see you. Welcome to Rise and Thrive Together. It's been a while. Sharon thank you for being the first person in there. It's a constant work in progress. I'm right with you, Sharon. I'm totally in agreement with you. It is a constant work in progress. I agree. Anybody else agree with that? Christopher Long, thanks for being on. Transformation is a lifelong process. It requires reflection and ongoing attention. Thank you, Christopher. Absolutely. Chris Long time good friend of mine and Raquel's, as Raquel's going to get herself back on here. I agree with you as well. Genevieve's jumping on and saying she struggles with it too. Genevieve, right with you. How many of us type in the chat? We struggle with it, and again, that struggle can sometimes really grip us and take us out of like out of the game that we're playing, like just takes me out where I'm not able to really think straight. I'm able to move forward with any of the projects that I want to do. And also, it is a process. I love it. And Chris, that's what we were talking about. So it is something that is, I'm going to take a lifelong process. It requires reflection and ongoing attention. And so this piecing our transformation of, this conversation is that we want you to start looking at and really reflecting upon, taking that time to reflect where you were in the beginning of the year. Maybe there's something that, you wanted to achieve. Maybe there's something you were going through, and how have you transformed some of those feelings or emotions around it? Or maybe something great happened, like you literally took an action and something physically happened, right? So I don't know if we don't have Raquel yet, but so those are some of the things to think about. Oh, we're going to add Raquel right back in. Raquel, welcome back.
Hey.
Yay, we can hear you. Woohoo.
So I was in the middle of saying, so rude is this whole technology thing, is that I believe there are always remnants of the old person there. Kind of like if you look at a butterfly, they still have that body, that caterpillar body. The only thing that's really changed is now they got these beautiful, amazing wings and stuff, but they still have that body. So I always think that there's still remnants of the old you. And when that old you rears its head, now we get to choose whether we're going to allow it to fully express itself or if we're going to push it back down and say, stay where you are because it's better off for everybody.
Perfect, because Chris Long is on, and he said that transformation is a lifelong process, that it requires reflection and ongoing attention. And we've been talking about that last week, right? We've talked about that it's always a reflection. Like, this is the whole year. Let's reflect upon, let's take a moment to see where we were at some part of this year. We can go from as far back as the beginning to yesterday, a few months ago. But I loved what you said and what he said. It's just a lifelong process. It's really requires, like you said, reflection and ongoing attention, and that awareness of, like you said, which is bringing, like I'm noticing 0 to 60. When I could see that, I can reflect upon that, see what, there is to adjust, see what's happening on in here. What action do I need to take? Give it that attention. Start feeling those triggers, right? Ellen throws in here, I always look to improve upon the traits she doesn't like about herself. But however, I apparently transform organically without even realizing it from just life experience. People notice it in me, and I look like she's saying, I look so critically. She's looking at herself so critically that I don't even stop and see where I'm at. Ooh, nice, Ellen. So, other people see it in you, but you're so critical about yourself that you don't even see it. I love that one.
So I got a question. Where's our guest?
Well, we're going to get there. Everybody's just so into the topic. All right. We're good. Well, we wanted you to get on. We had to finish up the conversation. Needed to just get everybody's stuff in. So we're going to continue this conversation and add our guest on. We're really excited to have Hal Eisenberg with us. If you do not know Hal Eisenberg by now, I'm not sure if you really have ever seen our show. That's straight up. He is our 7-time guest, and he's an amazing friend of Raquel's and I. He's an incredible social worker. He's an incredible author with not just one book, but 5 books out. And his newest one, Whispers in the Rain. He has his own podcast. He's about transforming the educational system. He is out to make the world, families, and children a better place. So let's bring on our special guest, really our other co-host. Hello, Hal Eisenberg. Yay!
Hello.
You forgot
God,
to mention he's an Amazon #1 bestseller for Whispers in the Rain.
Yes. Amazon #1 bestseller as well. We can have a lot. So hey, Hal, thanks for waiting for us as we were having this deep conversation and you were backstage. Yes. And love to just have you just jump right in.
Let me just tell you, being backstage was torturous because I'm sitting there going, put me in, coach, put me in, coach. I want to say this. I want to say this. I want to say this. I had like a million things to say. Everybody's comments were so brilliant and the topic is awesome. I kind of wanted to jump on when you were reading those definitions, because I kind of agree with Raquel a little bit. I didn't like that definition, because for me, I think I always look at words, right? I look at the energy of words, and when I think about transformation, everybody always connects transformation with like becoming something new or changing into something. And for me, transformation is honestly about remembering who you always were. You
Mm.
know, there's this spiritual side to transformation. Um, it's not something that we chase. Everyone's like, I want to transform into something. I want to go there, but it's something that we practice, right? It's,
Mm.
we practice like this idea of always elevating or always reaching for whatever it is that you want to be the best version of yourself. But you're always the best version of yourself. So aren't you actually, isn't transformation always just remembering at your core that you're love?
I'll be honest, Hal, some of the things about me in the past, I want to forget. I don't want to remember none of that.
Do you? Well,
But it is a platform for me to build on, because you're right. It is a part of who I am, who I could be, but I'm just choosing not to, because that person that I was and still am was good at the level where I was, but not for the level where I'm going. I have to change the way I think, the way I speak, probably, to get to the next level, right? So that person was good where I was, but it's not good for where I'm going. So that's why change is necessary.
change is definitely necessary. I agree with you. I think my question for our listeners and for both of you um, is going through those experiences of discovering who we are, those challenges and where we were they necessary for us to get here? And if the answer to that is yes, maybe in some cases it isn't for some people, but for example, I didn't want to go through cancer, right? Absolutely. I want to like leave that behind for sure. And in the same breath, I'm so grateful for the gift of cancer because it helped to transform me to who I am now, which is remembering all the power that I have, all the light that I have inside of myself, right? Unfortunately, I had to go through cancer to remember that. And I don't want to go back, right? Is that transformation or is that necessary to go through to get to it? And if it is that a gift then? Is the past that we're leaving behind a gift?
That's a good question for all of it. Sharon is so like, oh my God, yes, Hal. Oh my God, yes, Hal.
But what does that
Sharon.
mean? Oh my God, yes, Hal.
Well, she's not going to be on. She can't get on here. I mean, so for those people who don't follow Sharon on Facebook, she relates so much to Hal because she is a cancer survivor herself and is
Okay.
relating to that. And so if we got her on stage, she would be able to share that.
Okay.
She's like, I am in tears. It's a gift. So she agrees with him very much. And for someone who had known Sharon for a long time, that was something prior. She was terrified of cancer. And now, remembering her power, right? She was terrified. So she didn't have that power. She had that fear that was holding her back. And then inside of this cancer journey, she got her power back. And she's
But
out doing
does everyone, right? There's some people like Sharon and Hal are seeing it as this was something I needed to go through to get to, even though I was afraid of it. But what about the people that don't see it as a gift, don't see it as a type of
Sure.
power? They just see it as something that sucked. And did I do something to deserve this? I'm a bad person. And they're so focused on that they miss like the lesson. They miss the opportunity. I don't want to say they miss the opportunity. I shouldn't say that, because opportunity is always there, just waiting to be noticed. But what about those people who don't kind of switch gears as far as their mindset? What
Sure.
about them?
I feel like I don't want to diminish anyone's experience, because where people are at is where they're at on their
Mm-hmm.
journey, and in the same breath, I can relate to those people because I was also there.
Mm.
When I was diagnosed with cancer, I was like, this sucks. Like, what did I do to deserve this? Like, the first, this was a 7-year journey for me, and it's still going on, right? But in the first couple of years, it was like I'm facing mortality, I'm facing death, I'm questioning everything. And I'm like, what the hell? What did I do to deserve this? I'm just whatever. You go through the checkpoints. I did this in the world. Come on, God, all the checkpoints. Like, don't I earn some points? I'm like negotiating. But in retrospect, I feel like I'm on the other end of it now. So now part of that journey, I see that I had to go through that pain. So the people that are in those moments, it's totally okay. That's where they're supposed to be. And do some people lose the battle? Yes. Do some people struggle to get through that journey? Yes. And I pray for their souls and I hope that they get through the journey. This is a tough journey, right? Transformation, if we put it in terms of transformation, um, transformation isn't always easy, and it's not a linear path. It's mosaic, right? It's mosaic. It's filled with cracks and difficult moments and great moments. But it's those cracks. I'm sure you've heard of the saying. It's those cracks that let the light in, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you have to notice that the light is coming in. And I would love to get Sharon's thoughts on this. When I think transformation, I also think healing. Well, but same thing with healing. People think healing is physical, that my cancer healing it was a physical journey, but it wasn't. It was a spiritual healing. To me, is a spiritual activity, right? Because I had to listen to my body. I had to pay attention to that journey. I had to realize in those chapters, like the other people that you said, that their life was messed up and they wanted to give up and they didn't see it. I was there, but I had to recognize I was there because I didn't. And that was part of this spiritual healing journey.
I want to answer what Raquel said as well, because I had this conversation with someone last week.
Mm-hmm.
I would love for everybody to have the moment that Hal's having the moment that you have and I have and Ellen's sharing and Chrissy's sharing and Sharon's sharing. And to be honest, not everybody gets there.
Right.
Just not everybody gets there. Is there availability? Absolutely. We've all had our own journeys in the field of social services, and we've done the best that we can do. And not everybody arrives at that moment. And it's one of the things I'm compelled to say at this moment. It's like just coming through me, which is my why, because Raquel and I talk about our whys, right? Like a transformation is that thing that pulls us, and my why is to be on here, to have guests like you, to have topics, Raquel, that you bring up and that we discuss, so that if that one person who might be struggling and happens to be, because social media is so big, finds it and hears something, there just might be that moment of going, this is something I may think about. So it is a very personal, Chrissy is sharing it beautifully, but she's saying that, I constantly have to remind myself that time is not guaranteed and that I need to be grateful today and take chances. That's what she's going through. But it is, it is a very personal thing. And it's why I'm compelled to be on here and have people like you, Hal, because not everybody, and when we use that word always and everybody, I wish everybody can have that. And that's just why I'm here.
Yeah. I love the way, I forgot who said it before, but somebody said that they didn't realize like that they were transforming, that it took their friends to point out that they were showing up differently. I can relate to that. I speak to it now confidently because this is what I work on this every day, and this is what I want to share with the world. But there's so many moments I didn't know that transformation was taking place, and I was in that darkness per se. And still, you know, I think we talked about this on one of our last shows, you know, actually, I think Raquel, it was when you were on my podcast, we talked about how, you know, we put forward this positivity and this knowledge, but, you know, what people don't say is, see, when we get off the podcast, we might have a bad night, right? And we might struggle. Everyone's like, oh, they got their life together. It's perfect. But it's still a roller coaster, right? It's an ongoing
Absolutely.
practice.
Absolutely. And I love that word practice.
Yes, me too.
Because you never really get it right, guys. You know,
That's
when
true.
like I know my alter ego has a name. Her name is Rachel. And there are times Rachel is fighting me to get out. And I'm like, no, because once you come out, one, you don't play nicely. And then two, I can't get you back in the box. So everything that I've built and worked for, you can tear down so quickly. But I recognize what triggers her. And then it's a matter of, okay, well, who's going to win this battle, Rachel or Raquel? We got to take a pick. And I don't really, I keep Rachel in the box.
I love that, because when you're talking about, you know, we talk about tips and strategies. That's a really wonderful strategy. Coach a long time ago helped me name mine as well. And mine is Hortense, right? The name, I see, when I say Hortense, we laughed, right? It's a name that for me, so no offense to any Hortenses who are watching this show, it's not a name that I personally like. And that's that part of me that rears her ugly head. And when she comes out, it, like you said, it's hard to get her. Whoo, that's a 0 to past 60, right? 0 to 100. So I love that. But it was a wonderful, wonderful strategy to name it, who that alter ego is, love her, right? Aware of her, totally embrace her, but also know, you know, how our dance doesn't always go nicely. So I really am glad that you brought that up. Anybody else for fun as we're on here? If you have an alter ego name, please share it. Hal, you got yours?
Mine is boring after the two of you. Like I just call him Little Hal because I always see him as this younger. I know Little Hal is boring. I just see him as this younger version of myself, right? That has these childhood wounds that keep coming to surface. It's like doing shadow work, right? It's like, you know, there's these dark things in me that I think are healed, but will get triggered, right? And then you realize, oh, well, I still have some more healing to do. But that's okay, right? That's the beauty of this journey, right? That what I love about it now is that I can recognize when Little Hal comes, right? And then it's who's going to win that battle, like Raquel said, right? You know, it's like, okay. And most of the time, Little Hal just wants a hug. You know, he just wants to be seen and recognized. Like he's stomping around and screaming, but he just wants some love, you know.
Wow. Rachel doesn't want love. Rachel wants to destroy.
Yes. Sharon's giving you the Little Hal. So she's giving you love and hugs. You love and hugs. Yeah. I think if Rachel and Hortense hung out, it would not break, right?
There wouldn't be a chance.
I'm not going to be on that show.
Like Disco Inferno, like burn, baby, burn. Ellen is sharing that she is starting to learn to trust her gut. She can't doubt nor deny how she feels. That brings her tremendous strength, not hubris, just trusting herself. Nice, Ellen. Nice. This is fun. Sharon's asking me to name her alter ego. So I just want to all let you know that's not our jobs. That is your job. So I said, Sharon, go. That's yours, not mine. So, but you know, it is fun to connect, and it is a personal journey. So it's like you can go home and go have fun and go do it. I mean, I got a lot of alter egos.
I remember. I don't know what Sharon has done in terms of the emotional and spiritual side of her healing journey, but I know when I first started doing shadow work and I met Little Hal, I thought I was insane. I was like, I'm not doing this. Like, this is silly, right? Yeah. And then realized and learned a whole bunch of stuff, right? And I was just like, oh, yeah, I need to do this.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. That
it's so
works.
interesting what they bring up, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
So much fun. Let's see if people are just writing in. All right, Chrissy's got it in here. We got people writing in. I've started to let things unfold and not focus on the outcome so much. Oh, so that's Chrissy. Thanks, Chrissy, for sharing that about,
Chrissy, I have a question for you. Sorry, Reg. What is it then that you do focus on?
Oh, I have an answer. I want to hear. I want to see Chrissy's answer.
Yes, please.
All right, Chrissy. So just in case we got everybody talking, they want to know what you are then. You're letting things unfold and not focus on the outcome so much. So then what are you focusing on when you're not focusing on the outcome?
Yes. Well said.
We need
Thank
the
you very
Jeopardy
much.
theme music.
Yeah,
I know. I'm
right?
waiting for some cool music. While Chrissy's writing her answer, Hal, what would you like to share around that comment?
Well, first of all, I love that Chrissy said that, because that was one of my big wounds that I had to work on in my healing of relationships and in the healing of the cancer. Is like I was so attached to the outcome, and I had to release that. And even when I thought I had released it, I didn't. I was just saying the words. It was for me, it was a practice of being present and understanding that me just breathing is enough. I don't have to come on here and put on a show. I don't have to show up at work and save a million lives. I just have to wake up and breathe, and that's enough. And that was a huge lesson for me because I was the guy that was always, and to a certain extent, I still do this, but I try to be present now while I'm doing it, is like overcompensating, right? I got to do this, I got to do that, I got to do this, I got to do that. And it even happened when I was diagnosed with cancer, because then it got multiplied, because then the conversation in my brain was, oh, I only have 4 months to live, I have 5 months to live, I got to get it all done. And I wasn't getting the lesson because I was attached to the outcome of getting it done. It doesn't matter getting it done. It doesn't matter what you do. It matters who you are. It matters you waking up and taking a breath, and that's all you need. Be grateful for being present. That would be my answer. I would love to hear Chrissy's answer.
Chrissy just wrote in. I'm like moved by that. I'm taking a moment. I have tears in my eyes. I mean, I talk to you a lot, Hal, right? I know Hal through his overcompensation. And so Chrissy is saying exactly, no, this is really moving. And I'm going to take that mantra. I love mantras. I love things that I write and I journal, throwing in our book in there. And I'm taking that on, right? Just being grateful for waking up. I do. I say that every morning, grateful for waking up and, being in this body, to just have that breath and just be is enough. I don't know. That just hit me in a whole new way.
So Hal, I have a question. Sorry, go ahead, Reg.
Chrissy's answer is when the unfold to you, Raquel. So what is she focusing on? She's just focusing exactly what Hal was just saying, like whatever is supposed to happen in that moment, and that she has faith in God. So she's just, whatever's unfolding, the thing she is focusing on is right there and then in that moment, and having faith in God.
But here's the thing that I want to throw in, and is that, what about the people, and I always seem to be asking this question lately, what about the people who are sitting, standing, laying down and saying, how do I do that? Because for some people, the how is important. How do you do that? How do you just wake up after, life happened and you're like, okay, I'm just grateful that I can breathe?
There's not a simple answer to that question, right? I love that. I love that you're the voice of the people.
They're in trouble.
Maybe.
Not at all. It's a journey of becoming, right? And there's no answer. I think step one and step one doesn't happen automatically, but it's an awareness that there's a deeper answer, right?
Mm.
And then having the determination when society and the messages and everyone around you says you need to follow this way. My doctor told me 7 years ago I had 4 months to live. Society said do this, do that. Everyone had an opinion on my medical journey, but I had to go through it. I had to figure it out. And that was the journey of becoming where I'm at now, and having that awareness. So it's not an easy answer. I needed to stop and say I know there's more. But even when I said that, oh my God, there's so much self-development work I did, and finding the right self-development company, and meditation, and traveling the world, and because now you're healing isn't physical. Like, it's not just physical, it's spiritual, it's emotional, it's mental, it's and diet, it's all these different facets, and looking at all those different modalities at the same time and being committed to yourself. Most people who are lying in bed and saying I can't, or I don't know what the next step is, they're giving up, right? They're almost attached to giving up. It's just saying I don't have the answer, but it's just knowing, hey, I am committed to living. I don't know what's going to happen, but I've got to be the best version of myself. That's step one. Not knowing, but committing.
And that's a great first step. Just committing to you.
Yeah.
Right. And I know
Right.
Chrissy mentioned having faith in God. And I think that's absolutely amazing, but we need to understand what the word faith means. And faith is a verb, meaning it's an action. So it's not enough to just say, oh, I have faith in God. And this is not directed to you personally, Chrissy, but it is a recognition that faith is an action word. It is a verb. That means there's something you have to do. And if that doing means saying to yourself, hey, I'm committed to me, there you go. Now, every time you say something that is in opposition to you committing to you, there's just going to be a little small voice that's going to nudge you and say, hey, what about the other day when you said, I'm committed to me? And if we pay attention to it and don't ignore it, that little voice can guide us to the light that Hal was talking about when something is broken. And you see the sliver of light, no matter how thin that sliver is, that is the light that is guiding you towards getting out of that space in here that's trying to keep you prisoner. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It makes sense. And I'm going to kind of throw in another twist in there to tag on to what you just said. I think this is going to sound twisted. I think sometimes doing is not doing, right? And what I mean by that is sometimes doing means we just gotta stop. We just gotta pause, and we have to listen. Like, listen to your heart, listen to your soul. Stop listening to the noise around you. Go inside, go internal, right? That's where recovery happens. That's where healing happens. That's why we have to sleep every night, right? We're going internal to rest, right? We have to stop, pause, think, or actually stop, pause, listen, so that the new thoughts of whatever it is that you're going through will come up. The answers are there. You just have to tune in. It's frequency. Tune into the frequency and you'll get the answer.
But even that is doing, right?
Yeah.
It's doing in a different way, because I have to stop and I have to listen. And what is it? Stop, pause, and listen. So I have to do something in the listening. I've got to sift through the weeds and the crap to listen to what's going to help me to propel forward.
Yeah.
So there's still doing, but people think of doing as something physical.
Right. Ellen was throwing in,
Yeah.
giving some strategies of, for when you were going back to your answer. I mean, your question of like for those people who don't know. And, it's one of the reasons why we created the show and having a community. She says sometimes, having just another person to evoke them, having that, I think each one of us has, known at least one person or gone through it personally. And, it all sounds great of what we're all talking about, but it takes something to get to that point. And then usually, and is to have somebody who's there, who's checking in, even if it's a quick check-in. This isn't where I want to make a big disclaimer, guys. And I see who's on, and I'm not sure who else is listening. We are not giving you like the, hey, this is how we get out of it. It's not always easy when we're in that kind of muck. I want to use like a quicksand. But if you're here and you're listening at this moment in time in that muck and quicksand, we remind you that you're not alone, right? This is the opportunity that we have Hal Eisenberg on here as one of our experts and our guests, myself and Raquel. You just take that moment because you're worthy, you're deserving. Like Hal is saying, remembering who you are because you somehow or another found this show and something you stayed on for that second and said, I'm listening. We're here. We don't put people's information out for no reason whatsoever. So reach out to Hal, his haleisenberg.com, and we are info@riseandthrivetogether.com. We all have resources, so we thank you for watching. I'm just really speaking to those who might not be able to be speaking to everybody else who's here, who's gone through it. So that's one of, I think, my biggest messages to say to people. It is, thank you, Ellen, for saying that, evoking one person. Because not everybody's out there, kind of doing the stuff that we're doing, like you said.
I love that Ellen said that because before when I was rattling off that, transformation and healing is emotional, physical, spiritual, the word I left out is it's also community, right? There's no way that I would have transformed and gotten to where I am now if it wasn't for the people in my life along the way, that inspired me, were there for me, the late night calls, the text message, there's just so many, transformation is a collective process. If we allow it to be and we support one another, that's where real healing will happen. If we look at the world now, without getting political, we're a mess, right? So we need to be talking about transformation of ourselves and how we support each other collectively, because then I think that's how we raise the vibration of the planet.
Wow. I think that is a great place to put a pin in this show tonight. It's all about community and finding someone. So thank you, Reg, for putting that out, the offer for someone who's in need to get in touch with us. Absolutely love it. Hal, as always, thank you so very much. And you just gave the wisdom, the pearls of wisdom, or the green diamond of information. I'm gonna find something to say though. I'm gonna find a catchphrase for that. And so we thank you as always. We are thankful for your journey that you are still on, like we are all still on this journey called life. Right? So we all appreciate you so very much. And we're on the brink of closing out 2025. Hal, just one quick question before we go. What's one goal that you want to accomplish? Is it book number 6? What's up in 2026?
So that's a really difficult question because there's so many. So I have a word every year that I pick that's going to be my theme word. And this year we're picking the word impact. So I'm officially going on the Impact Tour. I'm speaking in 4 different countries. The band is playing in 2 countries in 1 week. I have a book coming out in April. Conferences I'll be working at. There's just so many. There's just so many things.
I love it.
yeah, I've got, some friends that have books coming out. Regina's going to be part of the tour as well. It's going to be a big year for sure.
I
Impact
absolutely
Tour
love it.
2026.
I love it. Impact is Hal's word for 2026. Like Red said, she said it best. She already closed out the show. We cannot do this thing called life by ourselves, but together we can rise and thrive. Till next time.